you know? So it's really numbery today. So what makes me nervous is like, honestly, well, I said it already. A lot of you just, the things you mess up is just like straight up adding every time, you know? So just be really careful when you do these. So ACT and your ASVAB and the Accuplacer and all those tests, they want your equation to be put into slope-intercept form. So the y equals mx plus b. Okay, can you get that here, please? Okay, so that's like their goal. Okay, the way you get there in most cases is you're gonna plug it into, boys, can you pay attention, please? Into point slope form. What you need for it, shockingly, is a point, okay, and a slope. Boys, stop talking, please. Okay, and a slope. Okay, so some of these are like really fast and easy, some are a lot harder. Okay, and yeah, so the easiest ones are when like you have the graph, because you could just go straight to the y equals mx plus b problem. You don't have to deal with the point slope, because for y equals mx plus b, you like all you need is your slope and your y-intercept. So b is the y-intercept, like the y value of the y-intercept. So you're going to just use where it crosses the y-axis. So 3 goes there. And then plus, and then the number in front of x is the slope. So that's what we did the other day where you did like rise over run, you know? So from that point, where's another one over here? It'll be really clear on the test, so just so you know. But you're going to go down 2 and to the right 5, and then you're done. That's seriously it. So you're done with your equation. So these ones are nice because all you need to do, the b is the y-intercept and the slope is like the rise run counting. Okay. So why don't you guys do b? Think if you can do that. Fine. So try b. Same type of problem. And then make sure you're saying like y equals and have a equation. Yep. Yeah. Oh, it's just actually slope of 1.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
But I was still
Okay. Did you guys get it? Okay. Yep. All right. So a lot of you guys are pretty good with this. Good. Okay. So you probably started with the 1 and the -1, and then, or -1. I just simplified it. Just so you know, on multiple choice, it'll be simplified. Like they don't put the 1 there. So as long as you know that's the same thing, you'll be fine. Okay. No, those are how you do it with graphs. So that's like the easiest one, I think, personally. The next easiest one is when they give you, instead of the graph, they basically just give you everything you need. Like you're literally given the m, you're given the y-intercept. You don't even have to look at the graph. So maybe this might even be easier. But you're going to plug, because remember it's y equals mx plus b. The m is the slope, and you're literally given it. So you just put 2/3 there. Then you have x. And then the b is because they said y-intercept. It's just like the y value. So you're just going to write -4, and then that's dead. That's done. You don't have to do anything. So those are like the best ones. The ones that are harder is when they don't give you the y-intercept and you have to do like more work. So for this one, you have a passing through point. So you have a point and a slope. So you're like, I wonder which equation I use. Oh, the one with point slope form, right? So point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And what you do is you plug in the x of the point in by the x's, the y of the point in by the y's, and the m is still like m, the same slope. Okay, so for your ordered pairs, it's always like x comma y. If you get it mixed up, like which goes where, it's always x and y, and then you're just going to put the -1 in by the x's, by the x1, and then the 4 by the y1. So you're going to do y minus, and you're going to plug in the 4, because that's your y1, equals, and then your m is right there, -2, so you're going to throw -2 in, and then you get x, and then now it's always minus, and you could go straight to this if you want, but like it's always subtraction here. So when you plug in the -1, what ends up happening, and you can write this right away, it'll turn into +1, right? So just kind of keep like, yeah, y is positive, but the formula, it's supposed to be a minus sign. So that's why it's -4, okay? And then here you're plugging in a negative, and you can see how that's going to turn into positive. So if you want, you can go straight to like -2 times x plus 1 if you want. It's totally fine. Okay. I'm just trying to show you why it's a plus. Okay. So now what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to solve it, because you have to put it in that form, the y equals mx plus b form. So now this is just algebra stuff. Okay. So you're going to distribute the -2. So you're going to go -2x minus 2. Okay, so I did -2 times x, -2 times 1, and then what I'm going to do is add the 4 over. So I get y equals -2x, and then this is the thing, like make sure you're just adding correctly, right? That'd be +2, and that'd be your answer. So it's basically plug it in, distribute, add or subtract, and then you should be good. But it's kind of a lot more algebra going on with that one, okay? If you notice part number 3, okay, you see how it's the same question, right? You've got a slope and a pass-through point, slope and pass-through point. So you're going to do the same thing, but notice your slope is a fraction. So just know that's like a thing. You're not doing it wrong. Like you're just going to have to deal with some fraction work. So that's why I put that on there, because it's a little on the harder side. So you're going to plug it in point slope form. So maybe I'll write this up at the top so we remember it. And you're going to plug in your m, your x, and all those things. So the x1 and the y1, those are your coordinates, because this is the x, y, right? So you're going to put the x's, x next to the x, the y next to the y, and then your slope in front of the parenthesis. So now, I mean, it's the same as the other one, but now you're going to have to distribute and all that fun stuff with the fraction. So you might cry a little, but it'll be fine. So you're going to get y minus 2 equals, then you go 1/3 times x minus, and then 1/3 times negative, or times 6. So if you want, maybe write that off to the side if you're having trouble there. But notice you could either think as that as 6 divided by 3, right? Or 6/3, or you could cross reduce it. So this is going to be minus 2. Another way you could think about 1/3 is 6 divided by 3. It's the same thing. But that's the answer is 2, okay? Now, what you're going to do is add your 2 to both sides. And then these are like the goofball mistakes people make. They'll say 1/3 x minus 4 or plus 4. And it's just plus 0 because they cancel, right? So you're just left with 1/3 x. And that's it. That's like legit the answer because it's plus 0. So it's like, don't need to write it. Is there any questions on that? Because that one's kind of a harder one with the fraction. No. Okay, then this is the worst kind, is the passing through points, because you're not given the slope. So like the other ones, you have a point, a slope, and a point. But like this one, we just have a bunch of points. So it's like, ugh. So the first thing you do for this one is you need to figure out the slope. So the way you figure out the slope is you take the difference of y's over the difference of x's. Okay, so y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Okay, that was on yesterday's notes, but it's also over here. Well, they don't have the formula, but it shows you an example at least. So you're going to do change in y's. Here, maybe I'll add that to here. Okay, if you need to find slope, slope is the y2. It's on yesterday's stuff, but just to have it on the same sheet, that's the formula for slope. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Honestly, the biggest mistake people make on that is they'll put the x's on the numerator. So that's annoying. But remember, rise over run. Rise is up and down. So y's always are on the numerator. So this one's a juicy one. Are you ready? You ready for the juice? Okay. So how do I know which one's which? Every ordered pair is x comma y. Okay, every ordered pair. So then this is the first one, so put ones there. This is the second one, so put twos there. And what you're going to do is you're going to do the -4 minus -3, and then you're going to do 1 minus 5. So you're going to go y2 -4 minus y1 -3, which is kind of weird with the negatives, but we'll deal with that later. Then we're going to do x2 1 minus x1 5. Okay, so I did these two. Here, I'll just write that out. That's how I got that numerator. So I did the difference of y's over difference of x's. Just to be certain, I'll write this as +3. Just because it makes me feel better. So what I get is -1 over -4. So if I have a negative divided by a negative, oh geez, I'm running out of room here. That's going to be a positive. So this one's a lot more work because you have to find the slope first. And especially if it's a fraction, you're like, oh my God, Okay. So now, I know, still not done. Isn't that nuts? Is you're going to put your slope in where the m goes. So 1/4 is going to go there. That's what took forever to get it. And then you get to pick your favorite ordered pair to plug in for x and y. Who knew you had a favorite? You know what my favorite one is? The first one. I don't know why. I'll just do the first one. If you want to plug in 1 and -4, you'll get the same answer. So it's really up to you. So I'm going to put the 5 in and the -3 in. Is everyone with me so far? Because now we're going to have to distribute a fraction, which is going to be scary. Okay. So y plus 3. Now we're going to go 1/4 times x. So that one should be fine. So 1/4 x, okay? But then you have to do 1/4 times 5, okay? Now, if you can do that in your head, great. That's 5/4. Some of you might be like, what? Okay. Write it off to the side if it helps. When you multiply fractions, you're literally multiplying across. So it's 5 times 1 over 4 times 1. So 1/4 times 5 is, I wrote it over here. I wrote 5 over 1 just to organize my work here. And I did 1 times 5 is 5, 4 times 1 is 4. Is everyone okay with that? Because that's kind of hard. So then now, what's even worse is I have to subtract over the 3. So this is actually pretty tricky because now I'm going to subtract the 3 over. Okay. So I'm going to be left with y equals 1/4 x. And now I have to figure out what that number is. Okay. So the answer is -17/4. Okay. But the way you get that number, okay, is you have to do -5/4 plus -3, right? So what you're going to need to do is find a common denominator. I know, isn't this kind of hard, right? So to get that number, I'm going to take -5/4 and I'm going to do a common denominator with the 3. Okay? So if I'm going to have a 4 on the denominator with this, what number is going to be on the numerator? So I didn't lose you because this one's kind of a hard. So what would be this number on the numerator if I'm doing a common denominator? What do you think? Ellen, write this down. So how do I get a common denominator if I have a 4 here for the common denominator with a 3? What would be the numerator on here? For me, yeah, 12, right? 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, so that's why we did the unit 1 when we did all that fraction work, is because it's coming back right over here. So again, -5/4 plus -3 or -3, however you want to think about it, is I need a common denominator. So I change 3 into 12 over 4. Okay, and then now adding those, that's where the -17 comes from. -17/4. Disgusting. Okay. That one's pretty tough with the fraction work, don't you think? So when you multiply across. When you add or subtract, you need a common denominator, okay? All right, so why don't you guys try this part C? It's the same type of question as this one, okay? So you're gonna do, I almost said number C, letter C. Okay, so maybe I'll have this up here. So work on C. It's a passing through question, okay? And you're going to solve for Y, okay? So ready, go. So the first step is to find slope, right? Oh, you know what you did? You have to do the Y's over the X's.
Oh, I did flip.
Yeah, that's right. Nice.
That was like that instead.
Yeah, so then it'll be 4. Makes it easier though. Thank goodness, right? Yeah, that's right. Yep. Did you get it? Yep. You get it. Nice. Yeah, you should. Because then you don't have to deal with the fractions. Yeah, like I would just change that to, 8 divided by 2 is 4. You like did it separate or backwards or something. What did you get? 4? Yay. Good job. Nice. Good job, guys. Yep, you're going. Did you get it? Probably. Yep. 2, 4. Yeah, good job. Nice. Okay. All right. So a lot of you guys were getting this, so that's good. So slope 10 minus 2 over 8 minus 6 is 4. Plug 4 in. This one was way better because the fractions weren't horrible. Okay. Okay, these last two are pretty fast. Okay, it's a horizontal line. That's going to be one of those like weirdo ones. Okay. So let's say you were like totally forgot what that means. The horizontal lines and the vertical lines, those are like the y equals and x equals ones. Okay. But then people mess up like, oh, which one is it? Is it the y or the x? So graph like a really janky graph. So -3, 2, and put a point through it. Okay. And if it's a horizontal line, that's what it's going to look like. Okay. Now, what I would do to figure out like which one it is make up ordered pairs. So what would that be? That would be 0, 2. This would be 4, 2. Okay. What you should notice, guys, stop talking. So this is if you forget the formula, okay? The points you make up, okay? All the y's are the same, okay? So this equation is y equals 2. So when it's horizontal or vertical, it's either going to be x equals a number or y equals a number. the way you can remember it's the y is just draw it quick and make up some points on it. And whichever ones the numbers are the same, that's going to be like what your y is going to equal. So if it's y's are all the same, put y equals 2. Okay. So then obviously you can do process of elimination for this one. Like if you have a vertical line going through 6 comma 7, we've got a vertical line here. And again, say you totally forgot whether it was x equals or y equals. Okay, you probably can know already. Make up another point. So like say this point would be 6 comma 3. You know, this one would be 6 comma negative 4. I'm just like making up points that would be on that line. And the equation is whatever like x or y that's the same. So this one's going to be x and it's going to equal 6 because 6 is the one that's the same all the time. So I don't know. It's just a different way to remember which one is what, if that helps or not. Or you could just memorize it. I feel like there's already a lot to memorize with math. So I just always try to think of different ways to remember it. Okay. Right? So that is it. And then I'll get you your